Hello and welcome back. Welcome? Hello and welcome back to the channel, our mobile music army. As always, I am your host Vortex from mobilemusicpro.com, your home for mobile music production. We again hope everybody is staying safe out there and working hard on their music. We know we are because we're back at it again with another Let's Play video. Today we'll be playing with Tim Exile's Endless app, spelled with 3 S's instead of 2. Now, Tim has a pretty long history in the music business and has actually released several albums in the past. But how we found Tim was actually watching him play his now infamous instrument, the Flow Machine. A custom rig made of cheap controllers and custom software, created to improvise electronic music live. And now he's built an app to sort of simulate his complex custom rig by allowing anyone with an iPhone or iPad to now improvise electronic music and play and collaborate together across the globe. And really now, with what's happening everywhere, with everybody being quarantined and stuck at home, we really think that this app couldn't have been released at a better time. It ends up being a beautiful and fun way to connect with your musical friends and family. We can't wait to dive into this one, folks, so without further ado, let's get started playing with Tim Exile's new Endless app. Alright, and the app we'll be talking about today is Tim Exile's Endless. Endless is free to try, but then it's actually $4.49 a month after that. And right now, they're actually running a 2-month free trial period, so make sure you guys check this out. Endless is a collaborative music studio with built-in drums, synths, effects, and much more. You can think of it like multiplayer music creation. It's easy to get started for the novice electronic musician and contains boundless opportunities for the seasoned creative. When you first open up the app, it will ask you to create a free account. Once you've done that, it will then put you through a short tutorial, which we're not actually going to show here. And what's great about Endless is it allows you to keep creating and building more and more layers and adding those layers on top of more layers. So in today's video, we're first going to go over the main interface overview and then check out the user interface of the actual jam part of the app. And finally, we're going to actually show you how to connect to a jam multiplayer, and we're going to connect to our own jam with our iPhone that has been originally created with our iPad. Okay, so first let's go over the main interface. As you can see, like most music apps on the iPhone and iPad, it is really simple and easy to get a hang of right away. The main interface is made up of 4 main screens, and the first screen that you'll actually be presented with here is the My Jams screen. And to the left of the My Jams page, we have the Join In page. And this is where you can see other people's jams and join into those jams in a multiplayer-like fashion. We'll get into this a little bit later. On the far right, we'll find the Infinite button. This is where you can actually manage your subscription and pay the monthly fee. To the left of that, we have our Help section, which has a bunch of friendly tips and tutorials to help you get started. And then finally, after the Help page, we have the main Jam page, which we can click on Play Solo here. This will bring up your actual Jam section. This is where we can begin creating our song by entering drums, notes, and bass. To return back to the main interface, we click the Explore button on the top left-hand corner. And again, you can always get to your previous jams by clicking on the My Jams page right there to the left of the Play Solo button. Now, if you want to start a jam that other people can join into, you would actually click the Start a Jam button in the top right-hand corner. But we'll get to that later, since the first thing we're going to show you is how to use the app in the solo mode. So let's click on Play Solo now. And as you may or may have not noticed by now, this screen is actually only available in the horizontal format. It does not support the landscape mode as of yet. Okay, we have our jam page pulled up now, and as you can see, this particular page is divided into 4 main sections. So let's go over those now. First, we have our instrument section, where you can actually begin typing in notes. And then next to that, we have our preset section. This is where you can change either your drum or instrument preset. So right now we have the preset set to mainline for the drums. If we go back to the instruments and then click on notes, you can see that we currently have the eardrop preset set. So let's go back to the instrument page and choose drums once again. And as you can see, it goes right to the preset page, showing us that we currently have the mainline preset selected. To the right of that, the third page is your FX page. This is where you can adjust things like the pitch, length, tone, and level, and some really cool effects like reverb and bounce. And finally, we have our fourth page here, which is the riff page. This is where you can actually mute and turn on and off your riffs that you record. We'll get into more of this in a second when we start recording, but each time you record something new, it'll fill up a brand new circle here, allowing you to turn this on or turn this off. And at any given time, no matter how many riffs you have or what riff you're on, if you click create a new riff, it'll take your current riff and just duplicate that over to the next section, allowing you to begin modifying it further. Now, some of the magic of this app is actually found on this page as well, in the settings above. A big part of the genius of this app is actually how easily it allows you to record in your sounds, whether that's drums or notes. You can see we have a quantize section here, so everything that you actually enter in will be auto-quantized based on the step size that you have selected here. You can turn this on and off at any given time. It will be on by default though. Another part of the secret sauce of this app is the looper mode. So if we click on the looper mode, we can see we have a couple of different choices here, either simple, advanced, or punch in and punch out. Now the advanced and the punch in punch out are just as you would expect them. You can choose either 1 bars, 2 bars, 4 bars, or 8 bars. But by default, you'll see that it's on this simple looper mode. And what's really great about this simple loop mode is we'll actually begin looping whatever notes you type in as soon as you tell it to. So if you only enter in 2 notes, such as 2 hats, and then hit the record button, it will actually automatically detect that as a 1 bar loop and then loop that 1 bar. And we'll show you how this works when we begin recording. Now, of course, this app does support Ableton Link, so you can use it with a bunch of your apps on your iPad. And to enable this, we click on the More button, which will reveal a couple settings such as Ableton Link and note names. We actually turn the note names on, though they are off by default, as we prefer seeing our actual note names on our pads. And of course, at any time, you can turn on the metronome here by clicking on and off. And of course, you can always adjust the tempo and the key that the app is in. Which leads us to revealing the final part of the secret sauce of this app is the key. When you click on the key, that means that automatically any note that you type in will be correct. So you can never fall out of scale, which makes it pretty hard to make a bad sounding melody. Okay, to quickly go over this jam page again, this is where all of your instruments live. You have your drums, your notes, your bass, sampler, FX, and microphone. So essentially, this is the part of the interface where you actually record in your music. So if we click on drums, we can see we have all of our drums preset. If we go back, click on notes, you'll see it'll display the different notes that you can choose. And if we go to the bass, once again, it'll have these different notes that you can choose. And of course, by default, the bass notes are going to be lower than the instrument notes. And if we go back to the instrument page, click on the sampler, you can see this is pretty cool where you can record in different things, but we're actually not going to do much with the sampler in this video. Let's go back to the instruments page. And finally, you have the microphone where you can actually begin recording in stuff right now. As you can see, it is detecting our microphone that is currently plugged in. And you can choose to monitor this or not right here with the on and off buttons. So to begin recording, you actually just start tapping in the drum pads or the notes. And then when you're ready to record it, you just touch the loop. And as you can see, we have created our first riff. You'll notice that the color is orange because we are currently on the drums. So you'll notice that this riff is orange. As you begin to build on this riff and create more and more sounds, you'll actually see circles of different colors begin wrapping further and further out of this circle. And we'll show you what we mean by that. So first we're going to record in some drums, and then some notes, and then some bass. And you'll see that the circle keeps getting bigger and bigger as we record more and more layers in this riff. So let's just start out with something easy like a quick beat. Okay, now that we've showed you how to record, let's just show you how to delete one of these riffs real quick. We'll just record in something new because we don't want to delete the one that we just created. Okay, now that we've created that, let's go ahead and delete it by clicking on the right arrow, which is next to all of our riffs here in the center of the screen. We'll click on the right arrow, which will bring us to the screen where we can see all of our riffs at once. And what we're going to do is make sure our riff is selected, and we'll click on the delete riff button, and then we'll click OK. Now that riff should be gone, and we'll go back to our studio. And as you can see now, we just have the one riff that is remaining. Okay, the next thing we want to do is record in some kind of melody, so we're going to go ahead and click on Notes, and from here we can choose again our different presets that we have. There are a number of presets to choose from by default, but there's actually more that you can grab over here as well. So let's first start out with one of the default presets, which is called Eardrop. And before we begin recording, let's go ahead and tap on our first riff and begin playing. Okay, now that we've got that recorded in, we want to add something else. So let's go back to the instruments and let's go to the bass now. And let's begin adding in a bass. So to begin recording, again, we would click the play button to begin playing the loop. But first, I want to draw your attention to this second riff here. You'll notice that it has the combination of the first riff here, which is made of orange, which is our drums, with the second riff, which is yellow, which is our melody. And we can always switch back and forth between these riffs by tapping on them. So if we tap the first riff, which is just our drums, we can see that it begins playing our drums. And if we tap on the second riff, it'll begin playing that. And again, it'll have the melody in it as illustrated with the yellow around the orange. And to stop playing the riff, you would just tap it once more, or you could click the pause button at the top. So let's go ahead and begin recording in a bass. Okay, we've completed recording in our bass, and as you can see, we have our third riff here now, composed of both the drum in the center, the melody outside of that, and finally the bass riff outside of that. Okay, and the last part of the jam section that we want to demonstrate today is the effects. So if we tap on the effects, we can see we have a number of effects to choose from in our core category here, such as high pass, reverb, low pass, and so forth. We can actually have an additional effects over here in the infinite effects, which you'll get once you purchase the full version. Okay, now we want to show you the multiplayer part of the app. To do that, we're going to go back to the main screen. So we'll click on the Explore button at the top left-hand corner, bringing us back to the screen where we have the Join In, My Jams, Play Solo, Help, and Infinite pages at the bottom. What we're going to click on is the Join In button. And as you can see, that'll bring up the featured jams list where you can actually see what jams the community is playing with right now. And you can go in and actually tap on any one of these and hear what the jam is, and not only that, but begin playing as well. So we'll go ahead and tap on any one of these random jams. Let's go ahead and tap on the first one. So let's take a look at what we see. Right away, we have the title at the top, Endless Launch Celebration, and then we have the person who created this particular jam. Below that, we have the history of the different riffs that were created by all the different people in this jam, with a little letter next to who created that particular riff. Below that, we have our main functionality where we can invite others to this particular jam, share what we've created so far, see our additional options, and choose to have the autoplay on or off. Now the main button in the center is going to be the jam button. That's where we actually enter in this particular jam. So this interface here acts like the overview. At any given time, you can see what's playing by clicking on the play button. So let's go ahead and enter this jam by clicking jam. Once again, we're greeted with all the different riffs that have been created by other people so far. We'll click on play and add something ourselves. And as you can see, our riff was created right here. To remove this riff, we once again click on the arrow, and you can click on the delete riff. And then we can go back to the studio and create something else. And when you're done creating, you can always go back to the chat room by clicking on the chat at the top left-hand corner, which brings you back to the overview interface. Okay, so now what we want to do is actually show you how to create a jam so that your friends can join in. So to demonstrate this, we're going to be using our iPhone and our iPad together. So first we're going to click on My Jams at the bottom of the screen, and we can start a new jam by clicking on Start a Jam at the top right-hand corner. We'll give this jam a name. How about Test 2? And click Continue. It'll take a second to create the jam. And now it is completely ready to go. We have the name of the jam at the top called Test 2, and we can actually go in here and begin recording already. But before we do that, we need to invite some people. So let's go ahead and invite ourselves. We can invite any email address, but for demonstration purposes, we're going to invite ourselves. We'll click on the invite button here, and let's go ahead and send an email. And we'll send this to ourselves. And click Send. Now all the other person has to do on the other end is open their email and tap that link. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll bring what that looks like up on the screen now. We're going to open up our email and click on the link. We're going to log into our account. And now we're presented with the option to open this link up in Endless. So we'll click Open in the Endless app. And here we are in our jam called Test 2 on the iPhone. Now let's go ahead and begin the fun part by clicking on the Jam button. We'll click the Jam on the iPad, and then we'll click the Jam on the iPhone. Now, what's important to remember is that whoever initiated the session, which is our iPad in this case, they actually get their stuff pushed to the other users automatically. Whereas when a new user creates something from the iPhone or from somebody who did not create the room, the actual host of the room has to decide whether that gets played or not. And we'll demonstrate that now. So first we'll create a note pattern from the iPad, and we'll see that it'll automatically show up in the iPhone and begin playing. So that has begun playing on our iPhone now. And we're not showing you the sound from the iPhone, we're just going to show you the video. But this is now playing from our iPhone. So we'll pause this on the iPhone. And now we're going to go ahead and do a bass line from the iPhone and send that over to the iPad. So let's click on bass and let's add something. And once that's completed, you'll see that the riff will show up here in our list of riffs. And now we can choose as the iPad and the host of the session to enable that or not. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and enable that by clicking on it. And there you have it. This is how you can actually jam with everybody together. So let's go ahead and try this one more time. Let's use this bass riff and then create a new note. And so then of course we see that show up and automatically begin playing on our iPhone. So while the tune is playing, both of you or anybody who is connected to this jam can begin adding their own riffs. And once again, to return back to the chat, we just click on the chat at the top left-hand corner on the iPhone and then the iPad. All right, welcome back, folks. We really hope you enjoyed that quick walkthrough of Tim Exile's Endless app. And we hope now with this app that you'll be having hours of fun making music with your friends and family. Because as you saw from the video, this app is really very accessible to people who aren't even music producers. And in these crazy times, it really does become more and more important to connect with friends and family outside of your home or studio. And because of Endless's simple user interface, it actually reminds us why we got started producing music in the first place. Because we all know how tedious traditional music production can be. But with this app, you can really get an idea or a beat going in seconds, and then quickly send it over to your friends and family to get some feedback. So as we said, really, this app is really great for both novices and professional producers alike. So if you want a great way to brighten up your day, get a jam going with someone you love and have a ball. We really hope you enjoyed this video today, folks, so remember to like and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. And of course, we really appreciate all the likes and the thumbs up and the shares, because remember, every thumbs up gets more and more people into mobile music production. So until next time, keep talking music, and we'll see you later.